Okay, so the subject of the shiur today, it's Birkat HaIlanot. How many of you heard Birkat HaIlanot? How many of you know about Birkat HaIlanot? The blessing of? Okay, so it's called the blessing of the tree. Sorry? On Tu B'Av? No. No. It has nothing to do with Tu B'Av. It's completely different. It's the blessing of the tree. How many of you heard about it? How many knew? When do we say it? Where is the source for it? Why do we say? Today we're going to tackle all of those questions. Why do we say a blessing over blooming or blossoming trees that you see the flower? Okay? What kind of trees that we say the brocha? When can we say the brocha? How many trees must be? What is the appropriate time to say it? All of those laws we'll see. And we'll go also to the source. Where is the source to say Birkat HaIlanot? We'll find it. So I see that only Stephen and Spencer know about it, no? Spencer no. Only Stephen. Anyone else know about Birkat HaIlanot, Philip? You heard about it. So today, Be'ezrat Hashem will explain what is it. How many times a year we can say the Birkat HaIlanot. It's not a common subject that many people, but today, with the short time that we have, we try to compress the halachot, we try to find a bit about the subject of Birkat HaIlanot. What is Birkat HaIlanot? It's the blessing over a tree when it starts blooming, when it starts blossoming. That's the brocha. We see which kind of a tree. So Be'ezrat Hashem na'aseh v'natzliach v'Hashem alenu berachamav yarviach. I need someone to read the brocha in English. Someone that's close. Oh, Mesh, you close. Say it loudly. I'll tell you when. This one. Okay, I'll tell you. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so what is Birkat HaIlanot? That the Birkat HaIlanot, Rabota, if you want to look at the Atzral, can be found on page 228, am I right? Or 229 in English. Okay, what is Birkat HaIlanot? Birkat HaIlanot we say in Pacific time. When we see that there is flower on a tree, we see the tree start blooming, start blossoming. When we see that, we know that that's the appropriate time to say the brocha of Birkat HaIlanot. Everyone understand so far? Okay. Sure.
Is it only for fruit trees?
We're going to explain. I'm going to explain everything. We'll go through it. Because it's called Birkat HaIlanot. Ilan, be'ivrit, will explain what is it. Okay? So what is the right version? The nusach. What is the right version of the blessing? I'm going to say it first in Hebrew, and then our friend Meish will say it in English. Okay. So the nusach go like this. Baruch ata Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, shelo chiser be'olamo klum, ubará bo briyot tovot, ve'ilanot tovot ve'naot, kedei lehanot ba'em bnei adam.
Blessed are you, Hashem, our God, King of the universe, for nothing is lacking in his universe, and he created it in good creatures and good trees to cause mankind pleasure with them. Okay, so that's the nusach. You'll find that there is a bit of a difference. There is a difference between my nusach that I say here to the nusach that he say here, because it say, I say shelo hiser, okay, be'olamo klum. But in Atzkaral say shelo hiser be'olamo davar. You'll find different, very small, little, different version, few words different, but in general, the brocha is the same. It's all the same. Okay? What is the reason that we say in the Birkat HaIlanot? Why do we have to say Birkat HaIlanot? I mean, not for nothing, Hazal tell us that we obligate to say Birkat HaIlanot. So I'm going to bring only two opinions because we don't have a lot of time, but I try to compress with these two opinions, two ideas. Okay?
So before that, what's the difference between this and Tu B'Shvat?
Sorry?
Isn't Tu B'Shvat the birthday of the trees?
You're talking about the birthday of the trees. Okay.
So surely you should say on the birthday, you should say the bracha?
Nachon. Okay. So the difference is, this is Birkat HaReiyah. I will explain. You'll see the difference. But I'll answer you so you're not going to sit all the show on pulkes. The difference is that we take in the Birkat, you remember when we spoke about Tu B'Shvat, the main idea is to know when is Shnat HaShvi'it. That means when we must stop harvesting the land, and we're not allowed to take from the fruit on Shnat HaShvi'it and Shnat HaShmita. That's the main idea, okay, of the Tu B'Shvat, okay? That we're blessing, obviously, the fruit. But it's not, here we're blessing something else. You'll see that it has nothing to do with that. We'll see. We'll get to it.
Once a year.
Huh? We'll get to it. I'll get to all of that. I try to compromise. So the main reason is that we're saying Birkat HaIlanot. Why do we bless the trees? Did you ask yourself? So we bless the trees to thanks and to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. For what? For his kindness, for the beauty, the abundance, Rabotai, for the abundance of the fruit that we get every year. We thanking HaKadosh Baruch Hu for his kindness. We praising HaKadosh Baruch Hu for his kindness. We thanking them for the beauty that we have on the trees, the fruit that we're getting on a tree. Not only that, the abundance. What is the connection, the abundance? Why shouldn't we have tree on the fruit? Because quite often, people sin in the world. We all know. People do averot. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu can punish us and not give us fruit. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu have mercy on us. Not only that he give us fruit, he give us abundance of fruit. That's on a pshat. There is on a higher level what the Kabbalistic or the mystical Rabbi explain, and they say it like this. It's not only to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the kindness, for the beauty that we see with the fruit when it's blossoming. It's to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu that doing a resurrection of the trees. Why? Because in winter, the tree completely lose his leaves, his flower, whatever you have on it, the fruit, become naked. You look like dead. Am I right? When the spring starts, immediately you start to see a different trees. The buds coming, it starts blossoming, you see the flower, later on you see the fruit. We come to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he's doing a resurrection for the trees, the Kabbalistic say. And Be'ezrat Hashem, as Jews, one of our belief, one of the 13 principles, we obligated to believe in Tchiyat HaMetim, the resurrection of the dead, the Rambam say. So here the Kabbalistic rabbis say, the spiritual rabbis say, that it's come to teach us to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu that done Tchiyat HaMetim to the trees. Do you understand that? That's the reason why we saying the blessing of the trees. Any questions so far? No. Good. Where is the source for it? Okay, we understand. We understand the reason. But where is the source? Where did Hazal find the source? The source to it comes from the Gemara in Masechet Brachot, page 43, folio 2, Daf Mein Gimel Amud Bet. And there the Gemara say like this. I'm going to read it in Aramaic and then I will translate it. Hai man de nafik beyamad nisan. A person, you know what, let me read it all and then I explain. Hai man de nafik beyamad nisan, v'chazei lana דקה מלבלבי, אומר, ברוך שלא חיסר בעולמו כלום. The Gemara tells us that the person that was walking and he saw a tree, a fruit tree, okay? And he saw it blooming. When the tree blooming, when the tree bringing flower, obligated to say, ברוך שלא חיסר בעולמו כלום. So from here we see, from that Gemara we see that we obligated to say Birkat HaIlanot when? When you see in a spring, when the tree start blooming, when the tree start blossoming, when we see the flower, the beautiful flower on a tree. Okay, when is the appropriate time to say it? Let's start with Eretz Israel. Why Dafka Eretz Israel? And I'll explain the difference. In the northern hemisphere, spring usually fall when? Around Nisan, April. Nachon? So, in Eretz Israel, they say Birkat HaIlanot in Nisan, that's April. But we live here in the southern hemisphere, South Africa, also in Australia, we say the blessing of the tree usually when? On Tishrei, when it starts blossoming. Like now, we almost in Elul, we start seeing the tree blooming. We start seeing the tree blossoming. So that's the right time to say. Every country, according to the tree when it's blooming. You follow, everyone? That's very important to remember. Okay. Now, we're getting that what Hazal tell us, we learn few halachot. B'yamad Nisan. What it means, the hazeh b'yamad Nisan. When a person see the tree, when? In Nisan. But we here in the southern hemisphere, we're not at Nisan now. Nisan is Pesach. We close to Rosh Hashanah. So Hazal tell us, and the poskim paskin, wherever you are, wherever the tree's blooming, that's when you should say the bracha. You follow? Okay, there is a shala among the poskim. Okay? Are we allowed to say the Birkat HaIlanot on Shabbat? There is a mahloket about it. What is the mahloket? Because according to the Kaf HaHaim, Rabbi Yaakov Sofer, he said that we can't say Birkat HaIlanot on Shabbat. Not only that, the Kabbalistic rabbi, the spiritual rabbi, say you can't say on Shabbat Birkat HaIlanot for two different reasons. The Kaf HaHaim bring that you're not allowed to say it. You know why? Because you might gonna come, you see the beautiful tree, you might gonna pull or touch the tree, and you pull leaves or the flower on Shabbat, and you're not allowed to pull it. Because there is then melechet lisha, tolesh. You're not allowed to do it, haz v'shalom. That's Kaf HaHaim. The Kabbalistic says something else. Because when you say Birkat HaIlanot, you actually, what you're doing, you bring in the nitzotzot. Metaken. What it means, metaken? You're doing a repentance for the neshamot that there is on the tree. It's a bit heavy level. So you're not allowed to do tikkun b'Shabbat. But le'alacha bin pasken, that you can say Birkat HaIlanot b'Shabbat. You can say it on Shabbat. Most of the opinion agree that you can say it. There's another question amongst the poskim.
There's a good reason for it.
Huh?
There's a good reason for it.
The good reason for it, because when a person look at a tree,
He sees
he usually doesn't touch it. You say Birkat HaIlanot, we'll see it's Birkat HaRiyah.
But if he sees a tree with the flowers on it, right? And it wasn't like that yesterday, right? And if he doesn't say the bracha then he lost the opportunity.
No, because you can't tell me that the blossom finish in one day. You want to tell me that if the blossom on Shabbat, it will be finished by Sunday? Never.
He's lost the opportunity of the first sighting.
No, it's nothing to do. You can do it whenever you want. You'll see. There's another shaila among the poskim. Are you allowed to say that brocha at night? Do you understand what my question is? Because we say that Birkat HaRiyah. What is Birkat HaRiyah? The blessing of the view. You understand? Why? When we see the flower, when we see it blooming, that's when we have to say the bracha. So the question is, are you allowed to say it at night?
When you smell.
Sorry?
You smell.
No, not only smell. לא, זה ברכת הראייה, זה לא ברכת הריח. לא. ברכת, כן, אבל זה לא על פרחים. We'll explain which one.
That's what I just said.
It's not about smell. You
No,
all...
not the smell, the sighting.
נכון, but you can say it on Shabbat. Because by Sunday, the blooming not going to be finished. You understand? It's lost for at least a week or two. But now the question becomes, can you say it at night or not? So Hazal say, the poskim say like this. If there is enough light from the electricity on a tree and you can see the blossom, you can see the blooming, the flower on a tree, you can say it at night. As long as there is enough light for you to see. Why? Because the source of it is Birkat HaReiyah, as long as you can see it. And it doesn't make a difference if it's day or electricity, how you see it. You follow? How many times we say the brocha? You remember you ask? Once a year. That means if you say it once a year, you say it here in Elul, Tishrei, you're not allowed to say it on the next year, Elul and Tishrei. So we say it once a year. This brocha once a year.
Rabbi, some flowers that bloom during the day, when the sunlight goes down, they close.
Okay.
That's
Now
why
I'm
you
going to
need
get
a
to your question. Now you're talking about flower. We're not talking about flower. We're talking about trees. And that's where many people make the mistake. And that's what I say. It's about a tree that's blooming. Ilanot. Now we're going to explain what kind of a tree. Okay. What kind of a tree we have to say the brocha on? So Hazal say, Ilanot ma'achal. What it means? Sorry. Ilanot shehem pri ma'achal. What does it mean? That we sang the brocha on a tree that brings fruit. That means a fruit tree. Only fruit tree. If you see the blooming on normal tree that does not bring fruit, you can't say the brocha. That will answer all of your question now. What does it mean? That we obligated to say it only on tree that bring fruit. And it doesn't make a difference, the smell or whatever is it. The most important is that is a fruit tree.
Does the tree have to produce fruit?
The tree must produce, absolutely. Otherwise, if it doesn't produce fruit, you can't say brocha.
There are fruit trees that don't produce fruit.
So then you can't say. You follow?
Then you won't get the flower.
Nachon. The flower, that's what bring. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Another tree has got a pip.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Does it have? I don't know if it have, but I know that as long that it have the flower.
עץ אקליפטוס נותן קודם גם כן.
אבל העץ קליפטוס לא נותן.
כן, אבל עץ פרחים כן.
אבל הוא לא עץ פרי, אז לא אומרים עליו.
אם לא יודעים מזה.
מה לא יודעים?
אתה רואה את
Eucalyptus tree, it's not a fruit tree, you can't say on it the brocha. רק עץ מאכל.
אין עלים כלום, אתה לא יודע באיזה עץ זה. יש אנשים, רואה את ה...
Oh, so what? So in that case, ספק ברכות להקל, you can't say. Only on a fruit tree that you have 100%. You're certain that those trees bring fruit, only then you say the brocha. You can't see every tree in the street and you say, listen, it's blooming, I'm going to say the brocha. If you're not sure that it's bringing fruit, don't say the brocha. ספק ברכות להקל, you're not allowed. Okay. וחס ושלום גם יש פה עוד ברכה לבטלה. אז זה לא עובד. Okay. Now, we become to a second question that we ask. Can we say the brocha on the trees that they are orla? Everyone know what is orla? What is orla? I'll explain. Joe, you look a bit confused. What is orla? I'll explain. Orla is a tree that been planted, and for the first 3 years, from the day that it planted, we're not allowed to eat the fruit from it. So that means if we see a fruit during those 3 years that's bringing fruit, Nahon, it brings fruit, you bring a flower, it blossoming, beautiful. Are we allowed to say the brocha on it? And what's the question here? Because it's Etz Olah, we're not allowed to eat from it. So can we say a brocha on it, or we don't say a brocha on it? Oh, here is the answer. Birkat HaReiyah. Very good. So when we see, but I'll tell you why it's not, because you say, okay, it's Birkat HaReiyah, but I need to eat from it, because I say that it's to praise for the abundance, for the fruit, for the goodness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because it's Birkat HaReiyah, the blessing of the view, we allowed to say Birkat Ilanot, even al Atzei Orla, even that they during the 3 years from the day that they plant. You follow?
Is that the same with trees in Shtata Yovel? You're allowed to water the trees or the fruit trees. It'd be the same thing.
As long that it doesn't die, but you're not allowed to do nothing with it. There is a leniency like this. Okay,
So the tree doesn't have to be your tree, or does it have to?
we'll get to it. We'll see. We'll get to it. We bring the Mahloket Rambam. We'll see.
Rabbi, why can't you eat the fruit first 3
It
years?
hasn't- it's
Sorry?
matured.
Why can't you eat the fruit?
You're talking about Orla, because the Torah tells us that the first 3 years, it's mitzvat aseh deoraita, that we're not allowed to eat. There's another explanation to it. We'll explain about after that in the show, because we're not
Maturity
speaking
of the
about that.
tree.
Huh?
But tree only matures in its 3rd year.
Yeah, but there is certain trees that will bring you also a lemon tree.
No, I'm just saying some
A
trees
lemon
don't-
tree
some
that
trees-
I planted. I'll tell you a story. I planted a tree, a lemon tree, and after 2 years it's already brought lemon.
Is that
No
so?
problem. Yeah.
I've got a lemon tree in my garden which is old and it produced exactly one lemon last season.
You didn't say enough broccoli.
Now, how many trees have to be? How many trees it have to be? Or the question become like this: is it have to be different trees or the same trees? So first of all, how many trees we have to say brocha on? On 2 trees. Lehatchila 2 trees. We'll see. We'll get to it that there is a leniency. The question is, if we see 2 trees, for example, if we take olive trees, okay, or any other fruit trees, and they're the same kind, are we allowed to say the brocha on it? Both of them the same kind. So le'alacha bim pasken, even that they're the same make, the same kind, we're allowed to say brocha on it. Okay. So now, who's the people that obligating to say Birkat Ariyah? Is it only male? Is it only female? And I'll tell you why I'm asking it. Because we have a say. Mitzvah שהזמן גרמה, נשים פטורות מהן. If there is a mitzvah that there is time bound into it, women not obligated to say it. נכון? If there is a mitzvah, the time bound behind it, a woman not obligated. נכון, Philip? You know that. We spoke about it a few times. So, in that case, in a tree, there is a time bound, נכון? Because it's certain time. So is a woman allowed or not? So le'alacha bin pasken, male and female obligated to say the brocha. You follow? Why? Because the time bound on it, it's a long time bound. It's not just for an hour or 2 or 3. She can say it whenever she wants, whenever she have a moment. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. Also, it's a blessing that we praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You follow what I'm saying? To thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Become a question now. A blind person, can he say brocha? So if we take what we learned before, because it's Birkat Ariyah, it's the blessing of the view, a blind person can't say the brocha. So what a blind person can do? So a person that is blind, not allowed to say the brocha by himself, because he doesn't see it. But he should stand with the minyan. L'chatchila, we should have a minyan. And to say the brocha. And he must join him. And he can hear it from the person that said. What's happening if there is no minyan? Okay? A person can say it individually, and he can hear. And he can fulfill this kind of a mitzvah. Okay? Where should we say? Now we're getting to it. Where should we say the brocha? That's what you ask, if it's belong to him or not. Who asked that question? If the tree belonged to him. Philip, remember, if the tree have to be belong to him, or it can be someone else's tree. You follow what I'm saying? That's what you ask. So the Rambam was very strict about it, and he said like this: Hayotze lasadot. Listen to the word what the Rambam say. The Rambam, Rami Moshe ben Maimon Omer, Hayotze lasadot, a person that go outside to the field, to the orchard, and he see the trees. So what do you learn from here? That it's only on the field. You understand? That's the Rambam. So the poskim come and say, Nachon that the Rambam speaking about the field, about the orchard. But today that the city, because in the olden days they used to put the orchard, they used to put the field outside of the city. Today it's not exactly like this. Because in a city, you see people have their own small plot and they're growing there. Not only that, people in their own house have fruit trees. Simon tell us he have a fruit tree in his house. Follow what I'm saying? So the Psak Halacha Bim Pasken today, the poskim say that even if it's your own tree, doesn't have to be someone else's tree. Your own tree at home, you can say Birkat Ilanot in your own house. You follow? And it doesn't make a difference. Wherever you see it in your own house, you saw it on a road while you're driving, you can say the brocha. Okay. Sorry?
Go back to timing.
Yes.
I've got a guava tree in my house.
You have?
I've got a tree that produces fruit in my house.
Yes.
But it starts in April. And now it's finished. So when did you say April?
Okay. Very good question. When most of the fruit tree blooming. That's how we go. We're going according to most of the tree that bring fruit. When are they usually blooming? When are they usually blossoming? And that season. Usually in the spring. You follow? In South Africa I'm talking. I'm talking here because we're here. In Israel, it's in the months of Nisan.
But each fruit is different. There are winter fruits and summer fruits.
Oh, nachon.
There's always trees blooming
But,
in different...
so tell me banana all year around. No, but they talking, I'd say ilan. A tree that it's ilan, that it's bring. He have his blossoming once a year. He blossom once a year. These trees that produce all year around, but they don't bring the buds, they don't bring the flower, they're not blooming once a year. You understand? That's the difference. Okay. We say at the beginning, does it have to be 2 trees or 1 tree? So if a person lehatchila should have 2 trees, and I'll explain why. Why 2 trees? And if he can't see 2 trees, can he say the bracha on 1 tree? That's the question. A person have 1 tree in his garden, or 1 tree in his work, or wherever he is, only 1 fruit tree that's blooming. He can't see another one next to it. Can he say the bracha or no? La'alacha bim pasken, that lehatchila tzarich 2. We need 2. But if you don't have 2, you can say on 1. You follow? Okay? Okay. Now,
And do they have to be from the same fruit that you said?
okay, we say that it doesn't have to be, but if they're the same kind of fruit, the same kind of ilan, that means they bring both of them, it's 2 atzei zait, for example. Let's take etz zait, that it's olive, no problem. What's happening if you have only 1? You can say the brocha. You follow? Lehatchila, you should have to say the brocha in a minyan, 10 people. But if you don't have 10 people, you can say it individually. You follow? I think with that we are trying to summarize the Birkat Ilanot for us to understand what is the blessing of a fruit tree when you say it. We have to remember that when it's blooming, when it's blossoming, when we see the flower, we brought the source for it from the Gemara in Masechet Brachot. Okay, we brought the version. Who's obligated to say it? When is the appropriate time? When can you say it? Now I'll tell you why the Kabbalistic rabbi say that it have to be 2 trees. The Kabbalistic rabbi, we call them the spiritual rabbi, that they're dealing with Kabbalistic, they say that it have to be 2 trees. They don't say a bracha about 1 tree. Remember that. But most of the people don't touch Kabbalah. What do we know about Kabbalah? So the poskim say that even if there is 1 tree, we fulfill the chova of saying the Birkat Ilanot. Any question? No. So I would like to bless all of us that Be'ezrat Hashem, that when you see the blooming of the tree, you know a bit about it, you know the source to it. I just repeat, you can find it in the Art Scroll, page 229. It's the blessing over the tree. We're going to say Kaddish, But just before that, I would like to bless all of us, that in the merit of those blessings that the Jewish people say, and the merit that we're praising HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and thanking HaKadosh Baruch Hu for all the abundance, all the goodness that He given us, He'll send us, Be'ezrat Hashem, Mashiach Tzidkenu b'mehera b'yameinu, Amen, כן יהי רצון.